Sure, you made it.
I think you know what is on the ship. The ultimate predators.
Welcome to This Time with Daniel, and just me today. I just got back from watching The Predator. Now, The Predator is kind of a sequel, kind of a reimagining of the series. It's directed by Shane Black this time, so you probably know Shane Black from Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Iron Man 3, The Nice Guys, a bunch of writing credits, and funny enough, he was actually an actor in the first Predator movie. So now here we are. This movie, with Shane Black on board, you kind of expect it to have a lot more of a comedic tone throughout. This movie definitely does. This movie really focused on the jokes, a lot of which did not land. I'll be honest, it didn't have the wit and that kind of charismatic nature that you expect from a Shane Black type movie, with movies like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, for example, with Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. I think it just goes more with the actors that are in this movie. There's a lot of actors in this film, especially the kind of the main soldier unit, or the loonies as they call them in this movie. You're expected to kind of believe that they have this rapport, even though they only met the night of the incident, the night that Predator landed, or started attacking the science base, I should say, correction. And you never kind of buy that they want to stay together, or in one scene they're together, one scene they want to try and get away, and then you never really kind of believe that they want to fight this thing together. You also have Olivia Munn and Jacob Tremblay in this movie as well too, so you have a pretty huge cast, and I think that's the biggest problem with this film for me, is that you never really get a second to like any of these characters. You're kind of thrown a lot of exposition about their past and the history, what they do, why they're there, but it never really feels believable, or you really kind of don't care what they're doing. I know it sucks with a movie with humans versus an alien creature, but you kind of started voting for the alien creature after a while. This movie also has Larry Fong on board as a cinematographer, so he is known for his beautiful shots and cinematography in films, and this movie definitely had some really cool looking shots. I will say though, the special effects in this film actually really stood out to me. So there are some moments where it looks really nice because they went for a practical look for the Predator, but as soon as that ultimate Predator comes in, or his giant space looking dogs that are kind of a little reminiscent of Avengers Infinity War, that's where things kind of went a little weird for me. Like, I'm not even kidding, and I know this sounds awful to say, but it kind of reminded me of how the ghosts and monsters looked in the Scooby-Doo movies of the early 2000s. I know this movie had a lot of reshoots for the third act, and you definitely felt it. The editing in this movie, it's very jarring, I'd say. Like, there are things that happen that you feel like, wait, did that person just get blown up? And then you see them in the next scene there. So it's very hard to track what's going on sometimes, and that's one of the other biggest problems with this movie, is that you never really know what people's goals are. Like Jacob Tremblay is a kid. He's the son of McKenna, who's the main character of this movie, and basically at the beginning of this movie, McKenna fights the Predator. He sees him on a mission, and instead of waiting for the government or whatever to get there, he takes parts of the Predator's armor and then he mails it home to his son. And that's basically how the movie starts. And the government ends up taking him anyway and doing a psychiatric evaluation on him, and then sending him off on a bus where he meets Keegan-Michael Key and Trevante and all those other actors on that bus. A lot of forced humor in this movie, I'd say, and a lot of forced humor from the fact that there's a gentleman with Tourette's, and Jacob Tremblay actually has Asperger's in this movie, and I think a lot of the comedy was kind of reliant on how those characters would react to things. Also, Jacob Tremblay, he's always great in the movies that he does for such a young star, but man, in this movie, he's like kind of the crutch of how to use the space technology, and just because he's a super smart kid, like, you're supposed to believe that he knows how to work this space alien technology perfectly. It's a little weird, and it's not something that you always buy throughout the whole movie, or because they lean on it so much. There's a moment in the movie where the Predator is able to connect to what the other Predator helmet is looking at, and literally it's posted in such a position that he could see one of Jacob Tremblay's drawings where it says this is where he goes to school, his age, his name. So it's very convenient in a lot of things that are happening. Sterling K. Brown is another one in this movie that he usually delivers when he's in his films, but in this movie he just kind of plays a jerk, and he plays it really well. You really hate him in this movie, so you're waiting for him to meet his match with the Predator. Overall, I'd say this movie, like my 10th grade math homework, it's safe to say to skip it. If you like what we're doing, please comment, like, subscribe, all that other YouTube stuff. We'll be back. That was This Time We'll see you next.